Okay, we're taking a look at a game from PrepTest 47, Section 4, game number 1. And this was actually my real LSAT. This is the one I took on test day. So here we have 7 products. P, Q, R, S, T, W, and X. They're advertised exactly once. They give you the order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is what we call a sequencing game, putting stuff in order. Then we have a few rules here. Q comes before W. We indicate that Q ellipsis W. How far is the Q before the W? We don't know. Maybe Q is 1 spot before the W. Maybe Q is 5 spots before the W. Who knows? It says R is immediately before X, RX, and I indicate that they're bound together by putting a line underneath them. That's my preferred symbology, whatever works best for you. And then it says T can't be immediately before or immediately after W. Use the line to indicate they're next to each other, but I use the little tilde to indicate they're not next to each other. No TW, no WT. S is either 1 or 7, and Q or T is 4th. Fairly straightforward on that. Our sketch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across the top, and then we can just fill in things underneath. We don't need to keep writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over and over again. If we take a glance at the questions, we see that 3 of them begin with the word if. When questions begin with the word if, we should probably make a new sketch for them. For questions that begin with the word which, it might mean there are a couple of deductions. And with sequencing games, there's a really common kind of boring deduction you can do. For instance, if Q is before W, well, we know W cannot be first, and I indicate that by putting a little W above the 1. Q can't be last because W has to come after Q. I'll put a little Q there. RX, I know X cannot be first, and I know R can't be last. They're very simple deductions, very boring deductions, but sometimes they help you out later on, so we just stick those in there. And then we move into the questions. Now, it's always smartest to do the if questions before you do the which questions, because sometimes old sketches can help you on the which questions. So let's do the if questions first. So question number 2 says, if Q is displayed, if X is displayed immediately before Q, then what could be true? So it doesn't tell us where in the sketch it goes. When we get an if question that gives us new information but doesn't tell us an exact spot, we should work that outside the sketch. And by outside the sketch, I mean for question number 2, we put X is immediately before Q, and then kind of bind them together like that. What comes before X? We allow the rules to build upon this. We know R comes immediately before X. I know that Q is coming sometime before W, and then at that point T is not next to W, but I would have no idea where T is going. S is 1 or 7, but I wouldn't know what side it was going on. And Q or T is 4. Well, I don't know where T is right now, so we should write down who's left over. We've got 4 of our players indicated here, but I don't know where T is going. I don't know where S is going, and the one product here where I had no rules, P, I don't know where P is going. So TS and P are still floating around there. There's still a good deal of flexibility as to what could happen in this particular game. So then we want to take this and we want to go into the answer choices, and we just want to see, we take a look at answer choice A, for instance. T goes first. Does it seem like T could go first? It kind of does, and so you just make a quick sketch to test it. I'll put T first. This is question number 2. I'll put T first. What do I know about T based on the rules? I know either Q or T is 4th, so I know Q is 4th. I know that I'm going to have an RXQ because that's the new information I was given. I know S is 1 or 7, so now I know S has to go over here. And who's left over to go into the sketch? P and W. Honestly, it doesn't matter where we stick them. W is coming after Q. P, no rules about it. Does this work? Yes, it absolutely works. And it turns out the answer to number 2 is A. So we drop our line down. We move on to question number 3. Question number 3 says, if P goes second, who could go third? All right. So let's put P going second here. We take a look. We have no rules about P, and therefore nothing else is getting forced in there. I don't know if S is going 1 or 7. I don't know if Q or T is going fourth. Sometimes it's good, though, just to put in the Q/T. Takes up space at least, takes it out of your mind. But I really don't know where anything else is going. All right, so we have to kind of pause there. So we take a look at the answer choices. A. Could A go third? Or rather, could R go third? Well, this can't be R because then I would have RX. And I know that Q or T is here. So it's not A. We take a look at B. Could S go third? No, S goes 1 or 7. That's violated by the rule. C. Could T go third? It kind of seems like maybe it could. I don't see like a serious problem here. Let's put it in there and see what happens. I'll make T go third, in which case that means Q is now going to be fourth. We have R and X left to get in there. All right, how about R and X? I know W comes somewhere after Q. I'll stick it down there. I have S left over. It seems to work. I have a Q before the W. I have R and X together. I don't have my W by the T. S is 1 or 7. Q or T is fourth. Everything checks out. Turns out the answer to number 3 is C. We go down to number 5. Like I say, do the if questions first. They trigger new things. So question number 5 says R is going 6th. Okay? And it says which of the following must be displayed 5th. So no matter what we do, something's going to be forced to go 5th. All right, so we have the R here. What does that cause to happen? Rx. What happens if X takes 7? Well, S is 1 or 7, so I have to put S down here. Then I still have my, write them down off to the side because it's good to see who's left over here. I have my Q, I've got my W, I've got my T, and I've got my P left to go in here. So let's just put them wherever we like, because if this is a must be true, how about if I make Q, W, T, and P? Does that work? S is 1 or 7, absolutely. Q is coming before W. R and X are back to back. T is not next to W. The sketch checks out, so who has to go 5th? Turns out W evidently must be displayed 5th, and the answer to number 5 is D. Now we go on to the 2 questions we skipped. So question number 1 says, which of the following cannot be the product displayed first? Well, we actually have some deductions about that. W and X we know can't go first, and answer choice E actually already says X. Turns out that one was fairly easy. And then we go on to question number 4, what could be true. So we should check these out first against the sketches we've made, and if it turns out those don't work, then we'll make some additional sketches. So Q goes 5th. Well, I don't have any sketches where Q goes 5th. Q goes 7th. I don't have any sketches where Q goes 7th. R goes 3rd. I don't have any sketches where R goes 3rd. W goes 3rd. Nope, don't have any of those either. X goes 5th. Don't have any of those. Turns out we haven't made any of the sketches from question number 4. So unfortunately, we actually have to do the work, and it's better to solve these with your pencil, or in my case, a Sharpie, than with your mind. We just test them. Could Q go 5th? So we'll stick Q in 5th. We go to our rules about Q. Q or T is 4th. Well, now I know this has to be T. Now I know that W has to go somewhere here or here. Honestly, the choice is yours. I'm just going to put W there. We still have to get in an R and an X. I'll put an R here. I'll put an X here. I need to get an S and a P. I'll put S here. I'll put P there. So we check it out against our rules. Q goes before W, that checks out. R and X go back to back, that checks out. T and W aren't next to each other. S is 1 or 7. I do have Q or T fourth. Could Q go fifth? Yeah. And it turns out the answer to number 4 is A. This game is done. Hope that helped. If you have any questions on this, or why I did something, or why I didn't do something, leave a comment or drop me an email. I'm always happy to help out. Other than that, hope this helped. Have a good one.